welcome back to Vintage Champs. It is time for round 8. We are going to start with the last 2 perfect players.
Bringing it into the king of the hill.
There are exactly 2 players who have gotten 7 wins in the first 7 rounds, or 7 wins in the first 7 rounds. There's a couple of 19-pointers. Their record's blemished.
Yeah, it's
blemished. Unblemished, we have Paul Mastriano, who's on Hangarback Shops, and we have Richard Johnson, who's on Bomberman. Auriok Salvagers, Black Lotus. That's, let's see, 1 and a white, pick up the Black Lotus to sack it for white, 1 and a white.
Yes.
That would be infinite mana. So, infinite mana whenever you assemble Auriok Salvagers. 2 copies of Auriok Salvagers is the normal number. That's what he's got in this deck. You get infinite mana with Black Lotus. You also get infinite mana if you have the Lion's Eye Diamond, although I'm not sure he has that because you do kind of lose your hand with Lion's Eye.
Details.
So, 1 Black Lotus. The trick is 4 copies of Trinket Mage to go get the Black Lotus. So you kind of have 5 Black Lotuses in your deck. You can access it. This deck gets infinite mana shockingly reliably.
Yes, quite often. I mean, sometimes the big wait is they have infinite mana.
What do you do with it?
They're just waiting for that piece to finish it.
Right, so typically they will have a Spell Bomb is usually the secret.
He is running 1 Pyrite.
Pyrite Spell Bomb is the only spell, not Nihil. It's usually Nihil Spell Bomb because you can wipe out graveyards. It's pretty relevant to the Vintage format.
You still have to find something to kill them with because a Nihil Spellbomb will just get you all your cards.
Nihil Spellbomb lets you draw your entire library. The alleged tech for Bomberman was to have a Tasigur. Because Tasigur, A, it's a 4/5 body, which is shockingly large in Vintage. B, you can kill them with anything. Like, you can just Ancestral them, because Tasigur allows you to draw every card in your library as many times as you want to. Infinite mana plus Tasigur is every card in your deck is in your hand arbitrarily many times.
Right.
So you just Ancestral them to death. So Tasigur is effectively a victory condition, given that you're going to have Ancestral in your deck. However, that is not the way Richard Johnson has gone with this. He does not have a Tasigur. In fact, he doesn't even have black mana, so that explains why there's no Nihil Spellbomb either.
Yep.
He's primarily blue-white. He does have a touch of red. The touch of red is for Dak Faden and Wear Tear.
Yep.
Just Dak Faden, Wear Tear, and
Pyrite Spellbomb if you
activating Pyrite Spellbomb.
I mean,
you kind of have to.
Comes from Lotus.
He's just Pyrite Spellbomb, right?
Yep.
None of this fancy tech. He could have played this. I mean, Dig Through Time is the newest card in his deck.
Yeah.
Other than the 2 copies of Dig Through Time, he could have played this a year ago, 2 years ago even. 3 copies of Dak Faden is maybe the most recent card before Dig. I like it.
For sure.
No, I've been looking forward to seeing Bomberman at some point. Here we go. Paul Mastriano, meanwhile, Mishra's Workshop deck, he is on 4 copies of Hangarback Walker. That certainly, I don't think all the Shops players had Hangarback Walker.
Agreed.
But the ones that are winning seem to.
Yes.
Rich Shea has it. I mean, Brian DeMars, we saw pick up a 2nd loss last round, but he had it. Ito had it. By the way, Ito, the guy we had in the last round, defending champ. I didn't realize it. I apologize. I'm not fluent in everyone who's ever won this tournament, but he has flown over from Japan and won this tournament before.
Yes.
So, one of the regulars. I just hadn't run into him myself. So, apologies for not knowing that. Ito, former champ, with awesome smokestack Hangarback deck.
It's great to actually see stacks, like the actual smokestack.
Indeed. Wow. So this will be not stacks, but Hangarback Workshops against Bomberman. What else we got in the feature match area? We've got Dr. the Atog Lord, Rich Shea, returns to the feature match area, sitting on 1 loss, and paired against Jesse Martin. Ooh, Old School Storm. This looks like Reed's deck. I mean, it's not Reed's deck. Aha! You know what this is? So, 4 copies of Dark Petition.
Wow.
It's TPS with 4 copies of Dark Petition. And then when you're playing 4 copies of Dark Petition, you go up to 3 Cabal Rituals too. So 4 Dark Writ, 3 Cabal Writ, 2 Tendrils of Agony, Yogwill, Necro, all the tutors. This is just the perfect storm. Blue-black, nothing fancy other than 4 copies of Dark Petition.
And the name is entertaining.
The deck name is Blameworth Petition.
Yes.
Very nice. So those guys are X1.
Yep.
Jesse Martin and Rich Shea. In fact, is Jesse the guy that just lost at the undefeated table to Richard Johnson?
I believe so.
I believe he was on table 1 last round. So just picked up his first loss.
Great.
These guys are shuffling up, starting to draw hands. The other match we have in the feature match area, if we get to it, Josh Ravitz remains on 1 loss.
Yes.
He's paired against Christopher Powell. But we're off. Ancient Tomb for Paul Mastriano. Into Soul Ring. Into what? 3 mana here. He can play a Sphere, he can play a Ravager. Goes to the Sphere.
Yeah, so now he's probably hoping to draw a land so he can follow with Lodestone, but other than that, he still has the option to run out Arcbound Ravager, or I think there was another 2-drop in his hand.
Basic Plains, first one of those I've seen today. Jet, had to pay the 1 for that, does so. Uses the Jet for the 1 mana for the Mana Crypt, so Sphere of Resistance slowed him down a bit there. I'm not sure what he would have been doing.
Strip Mine.
Oof.
So now we can use the Strip Mine to get the Lodestone out.
Yeah, that sounds right. Got a Hangarback in his hand too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Here's Lodestone Golem.
Just the right amount.
Please, sir, may I have a Lodestone Golem? Yes.
Oh, apparently they've
He
gone
took
with
damage on
evens
even?
Our damage.
It's heresy.
Yes.
Take damage on odds. These people know how Mana Crypt works. Cavernous Souls. It's a nice tech. Usually you name humans, which hits the Auriok Salvagers. Also hits Tassiger if you had a Tassiger. Also hits Trinket Mage. All 3 of those cards turn out to be human.
Oh, wow. I actually did not realize Tassiger was a human. It seems gigantic for a human.
Pretty sure I'm right about that. So yeah, Trinket Mage usually gets the Black Lotus. It is required for the combo. I think this deck can also play, you know what, you play enough dorky 2/2s, you can attack them. Wow, it goes Sensei's Divining Top, not Black Lotus. I guess if you don't have the Salvagers either, you want the card drawing?
Or, I mean, his opponent has Strip Mine in play, and he just wants to develop.
Thorn Hangarback Ravager, I believe, is Paul Mastriano's hand. Oh, Paul Mastriano, not Pual Mastriano. It's been a long weekend.
Hey.
Not complaining. I'm having a blast watching all this vintage. So what's your choice here? He goes Revoker. Turn off your Mox Jet, or your Mana Crypt. Mana Crypt. And strip. Interesting. Do you hit strip planes or cavern here?
I think you strip... Wow. I think you strip Cavern. I don't know how many spells the planes actually casts, but you do have a lot more ways to get rid of the Cavern.
Right. I agree. I think you strip planes because you can't wasteland a planes if you draw one. Mana Crypt still potentially deals
Seems
damage.
unfair that you have to flip
I
for
know.
the ones you don't take. It was 5.
Yeah, but...
Someone please tell them. It's damage on odds. And the Lotus.
That explains why he Trinket Mage for Sensei Dividing Top. It's a lot more sense now.
Oh,
Is Lotus off the top?
I think so.
Interesting. He spent all his mana every turn. He could have had it in his hand. Tundra. 2 mana Divining Top, which means he can't activate it unless he's willing to sack his Lotus. Seems not worth it. Lodestone Golem chipping away. I don't think Revoker gets to attack because Trinket Mage would snap off a block.
We have Paul Mastriano starting to get tied up behind his own sphere effects.
Yeah, he has not drawn a single mana source this game. Just the ones he had on turn 1. I think you take this Lodestone hit down to 7.
Yep. And I think you still follow up with Ravager. I don't know if you just want another sphere effect.
Yeah, that's an interesting split. Hangarback is for 1. That seems worse than Ravager. I think Ravager, like this, there's so much mana on Richard's side of the board. I mean, it's not that much. It's
yeah, actually.
3 and a Lotus?
Maybe the Thorn, it doesn't really affect. Like you can still hit the Hangarback for 2.
I mean, the thing is, it breaks up the combo. I guess 1 sphere means Salvager's Lotus is now break even instead of turning into infinite mana. So if you've already made the combo not turn a profit, you just go for ending the game as soon as possible?
I don't know, there's a lot to be said of just keeping your opponent from doing what they want to do. If you consider yourself ahead on the board. I mean, but top is going to start hitting mana sources and...
Is that a pump of the fist for the even number? Bob is shaking his head. You guys can't see. He's just disgusted by this.
If they're going to play like that, they might as well just put their lands in front of their creatures.
Richard Johnson down to 4. Now cracking this fetch land down to 3.
Okay, so
there's
the
2
Ravager,
lethal threats over
much
there.
Much bigger threat.
Yeah. No, losing the flip on the Mana Crypt.
Yeah.
Meant the Ravager turned into a lethal threat. Winner of this match, all but clinches top 8.
Right, I mean, it would have to be loss, and a goofy tiebreaker situation for them not to make top 8.
Exactly. And, I mean, the odds of not getting a draw are small. The odds of having your tiebreakers not sneak in at 8-2 if you went 8-0 loss, are even smaller.
So he has
effectively a win and in.
He has hit a Wear Tear.
Okay.
And a Salvager.
Those are good cards.
Especially in combination with one another.
Sure. I'm not sure he can afford to tear up the sphere, though. Isn't he facing lethal next turn?
Well, right. It's very nice to leave the tear on top, and then
don't block the Ravager.
Yeah. See what happens with the Ravager.
He sacks 2 artifacts. You effectively kill 3 permanents.
Right.
I like it.
And then you're either getting the sphere off the board or getting your Mana Crypt back. The Lodestone Golem actually doesn't stop the infinite mana from Lotus because it's an artifact.
It's an artifact, exactly. Interestingly, by the way, Richard Johnson needs to win his Mana Crypt flip on his next upkeep or he dies.
This is 2 artifacts for Ravager.
Sure. It's probably going to get eaten, but it does mean that the pain Paul's going to feel from this Wear Tear is not as big. Yeah, you have to block Lodestone, and then Paul should just pass.
Right.
He's going to deal extra?
Yeah, that's why he cast the Hangarback before.
But he doesn't need to yet. The Revoker is unblocked. There's 3 damage hitting him. He has no reason to actually sacrifice this. He's just overkilling. Which, okay. I think if he just passes though, Richard's forced to act. All right, well the act is, put the Divining Top on top, cast this Wear Tear. He has to sacrifice Black Lotus to do it because of the sphere effect.
I mean, it really should have been in response to...
Oh, and now the Revoker gets the counters from the Ravager anyway, so none of it matters.
Yeah. You could have done it with the Ravage being 1 smaller and leaving a 1/1 flyer in play, putting the ability from the Hangarback on the stack, but you're still dead.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that he can then move the counters over to the Revoker meant Wear Tear wasn't getting him out of that. Yeah. Paul played it well.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, Richard just couldn't quite stitch it together. I mean, Paul comes out with Sphere into Lodestone and just barely got it done. Just enough disruption.
Yeah, I mean, it really had him backed up, not hitting another mana source after his opening hand.
That said...
Oh, actually, I guess he hit the Strip Mine on the first draw, but...
Richard lost multiple Mana Crypt flips.
Yes.
Mana Crypt That's 6. Give him 6 more life. Let him untap.
Yeah, it's a different game.
I think he can play. He can certainly play the salvagers, have the combo.
Yeah.
If he can manage it where wear tear kills the sphere, rather than having to kill a creature, then he's in business.
So
the back table, Rich Shea is up a game on Jesse Martin.
It'll be interesting to see what happens from here.
Oh, Jesse Martin was not one of the undefeated guys, by the way. Jesse Martin's on 19. So Rich got paired up against a player who is 6-0-1. That's what's going on. Jesse Martin.
I think he was playing the other undefeated at table 2
and won.
Round and won.
That makes sense.
That's why we only have 2 undefeated instead of 3.
Yeah, the 6-0 that got paired down lost. Jesse Martin. That means also that Jesse has a loss to give still, sitting on X01. He can still lose once.
So coming in for the Bomberman.
And man, I want to see Jesse Martin. He's the Dark Petition guy.
Yes.
4 copies of Dark Petition.
He's Blameworth Petition.
There you go. Did you know Origins was going to have this much effect on this tournament?
I mean, I don't think it's had as much effect as...
Oh, as Cons?
Yeah.
Come on. I'm not sure Alpha's had as much impact on this tournament as Cons. I mean, that's an exaggeration. Alpha's obviously had the biggest effect. But...
I mean, Treasure Cruises and Digs and...
I mean, Cons has changed things more than any set...
In a while.
Since the 90s?
Lodestone Golem was pretty important.
Lodestone Golem was huge. Mental Misstep was huge, but those were individual cards. Cons put multiple cards in, one of which has already been restricted.
Lodestone Golem may have changed vintage more than all of the Delve cards.
Maybe. I mean, Mental Misstep's a big deal too.
Yes.
But I mean, I feel like those are the 2 most impactful cards. But in terms of, if you say the set has to have multiple, you know what I mean. Right. Cons has been huge, but Origins has got multiple cards that are showing up as 4-ofs. Dark Petition.
I feel
mostly
like
just those 2. And some other cards people have thought about playing. Those are the 2 that I've seen that I'm just like, I suspected coming in that those cards might be relevant. Yeah, and they're not just relevant, they are in the best decks in the field right now, definitely having an impact on this tournament.
Absolutely. So you see Bomberman getting access to Kataki's War's Wage?
Wow. That's what you get. With white mana, there are some powerful sideboard cards. Containment Priest.
Energy Flux.
Energy Flux is a good one. Rest in Peace.
Pithing Needle, also very good just on Wasteland.
Sure.
And here we go.
Mulligan from Mastriano. Johnson keeps. In terms of the other decks in the feature match area, by the way, Josh Rabbit's playing against Christopher Powell. Powell is on, is this Oath? Yeah. 2 Grizzlebrands, an Emrakul, and Omniscience. He's on 4 times Show and Tell Oath.
Huh. Just the Miser's Omniscience?
Yeah. Sometimes you show it an Omniscience. It seems ridiculous.
I have 1 Omniscience and 1 Emrakul. Sounds like fun.
2 Grizzlebrands. I mean, you've got 4 cards that are insane to show and tell into play.
Yep.
Dig Through Time's pretty good with Omniscience in play, not gonna lie. Emrakul's better.
Emrakul's the best with Omniscience in play. Uncoverable Time Walk, and happens to have a body that does some things.
Josh, meanwhile, is on, we talked about this, he's on Notion Thief. This is, I have never seen a name stick for this deck. I mean, blue, red, black, it's essentially Grixis Thieves. 3 Dax, 2 Notion Thieves. Greatest Thief in the Multiverse and the Greatest Thief in Vintage. I don't know, something like that. Notion Thief and Dak Faden are a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah, Mastriano showed us the end of the camera, but I missed it at the time. I mean, it certainly looks like a first turn Sphere, followed up by some action. Or Sphere of Thorn, some sort of effect.
First turn Ancestral. Did it main phase, he must have had a Mox or something. Make sure he doesn't discard.
Yes, now he has Force of Will.
Can't waste the basic island. Mishra, Ruby. And there is Thorn of Amethyst. Auriok Salvager's combo no longer creates infinite mana. Richard's going to have to do something about that at some point, presumably. Here's Trinket Mage. Don't have to pay extra for that. It's a creature. Nope. Thorn only makes the non-creatures cost more. Black Lotus is the choice.
Again, don't have to pay extra for that one. I hope he doesn't try and force this with the Thorn out there.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And waste the Tundra. Makes sense.
Draws Academy. Lotus out there, looking at an engineered explosives.
Aha!
It's a very interesting
Explosives on 2 looks pretty good here.
It's also very interesting with how it interacts with thorns and spheres.
Gives you the ability to pay extra.
Right, well, yeah, you could just announce it for 1, and the extra the thorn makes it pay. If you use colored mana for it, it still gets the number of counters you're looking for.
Yep. Unfortunately, all his lands produce blue.
There is that.
But we'll just play Jace. We'll get around to engineered explosives later. For now, I have this Mind Sculptor. My Trinket Mage playing defense against Arcbound Ravager. I guess if you fire up Mishra, you can get Jace for sure, but it might get expensive.
Yeah, you might not like the results.
Snapcaster in hand now for Richard Johnson.
Couple of workshops in hand and a dismember.
Okay. So, yeah, he just drew the workshop, one of the workshops.
So I think it's just play a factory, dismember the Trinket Mage. See if you can get Jace off the board.
Attacking with the other factory and the Ravager?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Wait, dismember costs 2.
Oh, absolutely, you're right.
But the factory is a 3/3 factory.
So it's just going to eat Trinket Mage.
So Ravager plays defense, you let the Trinket Mage chump your factory?
Well, I'm not sure you want to give them the choice between letting your Ravager put Jace at 2 counters or...
Interesting. So Paul's willing to attack with the Ravager. If I'm Richard Johnson, I block Ravager.
I think that's where I'm at.
They're both attacking Jace, right? Yeah, they're definitely both attacking Jace. Yeah, I'd block Ravager here. I mean, yeah, you'll lose your Jace, but I mean, what is he really going to be able to hold on to this Jace? He agrees with us.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be sack the Ravager to itself.
It's not crazy, but yeah, I mean, you got a Ruby, and the Ravager's still gonna die?
Ravager's still gonna die and put the 2 counters on that guy.
Sure.
And Jace is at 1.
He did not tap Mishra to pump up? What?
And now he's realized the terrible, terrible mistake he's made.
Oh my goodness, Paul Mastriano forgot to pump his Mishra with the new Mishra. And Jace lives another turn. He got so wrapped up in the Ravager scenario, eating the artifact, trading with the Trinket Mage, putting the counters on the Mishra. Yeah, by the time Ravager has died in combat and the counters are going over to Mishra, yeah, you've dealt damage.
It's a little late. It's a little late. Oh yeah, but yeah, I pumped that. Of course I pumped it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, he's sitting there going, wow, that was on camera.
He threw his Ravager away and didn't even kill the Jace.
I'm going to hear about this one.
Richard Johnson says, I'll brainstorm.
Yeah, those are all cards that should be on top of his deck right now. It's a Plow, so the good factory.
Plow defends Jace again.
Yep. Oh, once you untap with Jace, it usually defends itself really well. Kind of its specialty.
All right, 4 untapped mana. Attack me again. I dare you. Paul kind of has to.
It's probably just activate the little one.
Yeah. These Mishras are just one at a time going to go marching into their doom. Activates the why the big one? Not the big one. You're gonna want that one later.
Yeah. It's the big one. Of course you activate the big one.
It is large and impressive, as Mishra's factories go.
I don't just want to kill Jason. I want to punish him.
Okay. Got it. I think Jace has other ideas. I think Jace found a Swords to Plowshares.
Pump it? Yep. Not gonna miss any more of these.
Remember the pump this time. We're gonna gain 5 life instead of gaining 4.
I don't think he's gonna miss any more pumps the rest of this match. But the one he did is gonna cost him.
Yeah, I think it's gonna cost him this game. I mean, he is up a game.
Right.
But this game's totally different with no Jace in play.
And that's not even to say he would have won this game removing the Jace from the board. But it becomes...
He's not winning it with Jace on board.
Possibly difficult.
I think there's already another Plow in hand for the next Mishra that has the temerity to try to kill him Planeswalker.
Yeah. There's also a Trinket Mage to jump in the way.
Mana Drain. Turns out, if you get to activate Jace 3 times, your hand gets pretty good.
I mean, if he just taps the other 3 and leaves Solarian Academy back to Trinket Mage, well, I was thinking he would get a Mox, and then he would have a ton of mana. Like, he would still have Mana Drain and whatnot. I think, okay, he may not be activating those Mishra's Factories too many more times this match. Yes, Jace has a knack of defending himself.
The Pithing Needle costs 2, though. Does he have a land?
Certainly.
Surely he's found a land. He hasn't played a land this turn.
I don't know that he's found a land.
Mishra's Factories can still tap for mana if Pithing Needle is naming them, but they can no longer... Yeah, he didn't find a land in all of that.
So how do you feel in this position when your opponent discards Force of Will to hand size?
Is that a good sign? Yeah, so Richard is now defending on the Trinket Mage to defend Jace.
That is pretty much the only land in his deck that kills Jace.
Yeah, because he needs to dismember, pay 2 for dismember. He's going to activate 2 Mishra's Factories instead of paying 2 for dismember? Don't you just trade your Trinket Mage for a Mishra?
No, you figure if your opponent just discarded Force of Will to hand size, you may have another one.
Sure. Okay, yeah, you're right. The dismember, paying 2 for dismember was not going to work out well. You're right.
No. Yeah. Sorry. He may have one more, at least.
Yeah. So Jace does die.
Yeah, those of us at home know he has plenty of Force of Wills and Mana Drains and everything else.
You know what he really wanted to get with that Trinket Mage last turn was an artifact land. That would have been awesome. Doesn't work very well with your Kitaki Energy Flux plan, but would have let him plow a Mishra. Does not have artifact lands in his deck. Correctly so. it is engineered explosives time. So he announced an engineered explosives for 1, paid 1 extra for the thorn effect, and paid of a different color, so that he'll wind up with 2 counters, I think. That is certainly what I would do in that scenario. The thorn seems like the thing you need to kill. Yeah. Winds up with 2 counters on it, because it sees every color you paid, even if you were paying it for a thorn effect. Alright, Paul finds a Mishra's Workshop. He's got mana now, and he did kill Jace. But Jace left behind a grip full of cards for Richard Johnson. Trinket Mage attacks? Alright. Yeah, I
sure.
guess
There's no Mishras.
Right. I briefly forgot about the Pithing Needle. I mean, is Dismember worth a Force of Will here? I don't think it is.
He just has so much in his hand. I mean, eventually
unless you're discarding
some of it.
Unless you're discarding the hand size, I would.
He's not yet, but I think he is also looking at. Well, I guess. Oh yeah, with 3 artifacts out, I mean, he can end a turn just Snapcaster for Ancestral.
Big Hangarback incoming. It's like Paul's got a Dismember and a Hangarback Walker. It would be Hangarback for 4?
5, right? It's a creature?
Oh, yeah. Ancient Tomb and Thorn. Hangarback for 5. What do you think? I have a 5/5?
A 10-mana creature and I have a Force of Will in my hand? I think I might lead with Snapcaster for Ancestral.
Does he have a mana drain? He's got a mana drain.
He does, yes.
It's XX of the mana cost, so 10 colorless mana will be added to Richard Johnson's mana
does he
pool.
get 6 mana he can only spend on artifacts?
Don't think that's how it works.
Just kidding.
Does not remember that the mana came from the Mishra's Workshops. 10 colorless. What are you going to do with it? All right. Step 1, I'm going to go ahead and blow up your Thorn. Step 2, Snapcaster Mage. My Ancestral. Step 3, pay the 1 extra for the Ancestral. No, the Thorn's gone. It didn't even cost 1 extra.
Soul Ring.
Still has 7.
And is that Kataki?
I think it's Kataki.
Huh, he's got more artifacts in play than his opponent.
Ha! Soul Ring.
Well, I have a whole lot of nothing to do here.
He's going to go ahead and play Kataki.
I mean, basically just taps his Academy from here on out.
Sure. Brainstorm. What else can I find?
Seems interesting to go searching for what else you can find after dropping Kataki. Trinket Mage, probably for a top.
On the back table, meanwhile, Rich Shea was victorious. Jesse Martin picks up his first loss of the weekend to go with a draw. Well, first loss of the day anyway. Rich Shea stays on X&1. He's now 7-1. Looking for a win next round, and then he hopes a handshake in the final. Haven't heard anything lately about Josh Ravitz or Christopher Paul. I mean, the only thing I think these guys need to worry about here is whether they're going to have time for Game 3. Like, if you're Paul Mastriano, don't you think about scooping at some point relatively soon? Enemy Kataki, enemy Trinket Mage, Snapcaster, grip full of cards versus you're staring at a Dismember? I mean, maybe you wait a turn to see if he's willing to pay to keep the Pithing Needle around, which he almost certainly will be. And Time Walk. You know what? I won't use that 10th mana. I'll only use 9 of it.
Yeah, I didn't think he needed to play Kataki last turn.
It's an attacker. I mean, the clock 6 versus 4 is a relevantly different clock.
Is it relevant when all your Force of Wills are in your hand?
It's a turn. I'm sticking with yes. He could also play Dak Fade in this turn if he wants to.
His opponent has no artifacts.
I know! This game is hilarious.
Here comes Dak.
Sure. Goes up because there's nothing to steal.
Wait, uh-oh.
Salvagers?
Attention matching players. If you signed up for Water Masters track number 15, Water Masters track number 15.
Got a plow.
Be in silence background. Water Masters 15.
Kind of crazy.
Exciting turn from Mastriano.
It is kind of crazy how far ahead of someone you can get in a turn or two of vintage.
Yes. Some of these boards develop very fast.
There's nothing Paul Mastriano can do here. Okay, here's Ariak Salvagers. There is a Black Lotus in the graveyard, so Richard Johnson now has infinite mana.
Yep, and here comes the Dismember, which...
Well, yeah, he can get infinite mana.
But even dismembering it, you could even just say fine and attack him.
Yeah, Dismember shortens the game by a turn.
Yep. He's like, yes.
Now these are lethal.
I don't have to return this Lotus over and over.
I can just attack for the win.
Yeah. You're fit. No.
No, that's not going to work. On to game 3. Bomberman.
Hey, there's a big difference between playing on the draw.
It wasn't really a Bomberman draw, right? That was blue-white control.
It's just all the good vintage cards.
Like Swords to Plowshares?
And Boxes, and
Jace.
Ancestral.
Jace.
And your turn 1 Ancestral is good.
Turns out.
Yeah. I had a hunch.
Big game for these guys. The winner is effectively clinching top 8.
Right.
This is a win and in. Like the odds of either of these guys managing to miss from 8-0 in a 10-round Swiss tournament are infinitesimal.
Yeah, not worth really considering.
So now it's a 1-game win and in. Good news for Paul Mastriano and fans of Mishra's Workshop. I assume there must be fans of Mishra's Workshop out there somewhere.
There must be. I'm not sure they admit to it, but I bet they're out there.
The good news for the secret silent shops rooters is that Paul's on the play.
There's the Friano brothers for sure.
Fair enough.
And Roland Chang.
Josh Ravitz, victorious on the back table. Ravitz wins 2-0. So Grixis Thieves over Oath.
Look, I'm happy to see a home for Notion Thief.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, that is one of the most demoralizing vintage
it's
cards
so awesome.
ever printed.
It's insane.
I mean, I think in Vintage Super League, I think it was the first match when I played LSV, he just didn't kill me, so he could Notion Thief my Jace.
Yes, Notion Thiefing Jace. I've had my Brainstorm Notion Thiefed. Yeah, that's bad.
I mean, that's just one of those. I'm just showing. I'm not just beating you. I'm crushing you. Know your place. That was LSV just.
The Notion Thief versus my Brainstorm was off a cavern too. You can't even like what? Oh.
Yes.
Card can do some dirty things.
Yeah, there's always times when you're holding it and they have like Dark Confidant.
Right.
Who knows what, and you're like, this should work, but it doesn't. Or I remember against one Shops player, I had it, and he was drawing extra cards off of Staff of Nin, and I'm like, well, this does nothing.
15 minutes left in the round by our reckoning. Should be enough time for a game 3, but not necessarily.
I think it'll be fine, because I think the longest win is if Bomberman gets ahead and he can just win on turn 5 of extra turns.
That's fair. Yeah, his turns can go long, but aren't that many of them.
Whoa,
oh, how about turn 1 Trinisphere?
Shop Trinisphere. There is a Force of Will and blue cards on the other side. I don't know if he had a land, though, to keep it.
Oh
my goodness.
A jet.
He had, was that a walk, a jet? Oh, I thought I saw a Lotus for Force of Will and turn 1 Jace.
Oh, he's going to lead with Chalice. What a scenario. Paul leads Chalice 0, which Richard lets resolve. And now here's Force of Will for Trinisphere. Man, you let Chalice resolve even when you're holding Moxen? I think he's holding a jet.
This is why he's better than me.
There are so many ways that turn 1 could have gone wrong for Richard Johnson.
Yes.
He ducked, he bobbed, he weaved.
Navigated.
Counterspell. Yep. That was a check to see if he's going to remember the trigger, I think. I don't think he forgot about Chalice, but like if Paul doesn't point to the Chalice and say, hey, this triggers and counterspells your jet, then the jet stays in play.
Yes. That's one of those, this is dead anyways.
Right. I mean, he can hold it in his hand as a brainstorm back into the deck card much later.
He does have Jace in hand.
I think I'd still run it. Mastriano forgot to tap a Mishra last game. And let Jason play for 3 turns.
In light of that, yes. I think when your opponent has missed the on-the-board stuff in the past, you go ahead and check.
Jeez. Sphere, Thorn, Chalice 0, Revoker with nothing to revoke. Names a random Mox, I guess.
No, even Chalice 0. I mean, I think it's top.
Oh, you name top. Yeah, or Dak Faden. I might name Dak Faden.
Oh, yeah. Looks like Dak Faden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking at the time that Dak Faden cost.
No, I saw the scribble and it looked like it started with an MOX to me, which is why I was talking through, but it says Dak Faden.
Seeing that all spells cost all of the permanents your opponent has in play.
Yeah, this is workshops on the play. Richard even had the Force of Will for the Trinisphere.
He's getting those pumps in there too. Do you just run a second Dak Faden? In case one gets plowed?
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this is basically over.
Yep, this is.
Richard, he needs to play what, Kitaki? 1 land for Kitaki? Does that do it? Probably not. Like, Paul can pay for enough stuff. I don't even think Kitaki gets him out of this.
I mean,
2, 4, 7, yeah.
No, it was like on turn 3, if he had the last mana source for Plow, he starts working his way out of it, but not so much.
Paul Mastriano, ladies and gentlemen.
Very different situation on the player of the draw.
Paul looks like he's going to be in our top 8. We've got 1 player now. Paul Mastriano going to be in this top 8. Still got a couple rounds to sort the rest of it out, though. 2 rounds after this one. So we know that Josh Ravitz won in the feature match area this round. We know Rich Shea won in the feature match area this round. Still have Luis on X1. Hiromichi Ito still on X1. Reed Duke did pick up his 2nd loss last round.
Oh.
I talked to Reed. He was playing against Dredge. Game 3 is actually pretty interesting. So Reed, Game 3 versus Dredge. Dredge plays a Bazaar. Reed Gataxian probes, sees the guy's hand. It's just stuff. Like, there's some dredgers, there's no second Bazaar, there's no Fate Stitcher, there's no mana, there's no lands in his hand. Reed has a hand with a bunch of mana. He's able to, like, preordain and maybe a ponder. Oh, Gataxian probe preordain. He is able to get a memory jar into play. So here's the scenario. You can crack memory jar now with basically nothing floating and figure you're like 30% to win the game off your memory jar hand. You have no land drop available, you have no mana. Or you can say get to untap your lands and accumulate another land drop, and you're probably 75% to win the game, you say go.
Yeah, and I think 30 might be generous when you're short a land drop.
Yeah, maybe he had one colorless floating or something, but like,
okay.
He had it at 30. That's his number.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
His number was 30%, which I'll buy.
Yes.
LSV did the drop and fly, so he lost that round. Yeah, Luis Scott Vargas. That's too bad. Luis Scott Vargas had a flight tonight at 9 o'clock. Also had a flight tomorrow morning.
Yes.
He knew that if he was still here for the length of the Swiss, he would miss tonight's flight and be on the one in the morning, but he just picked up his second loss. So, let's see, 6:20. Yeah, I can make my flight.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah,
that's too bad.
Absolutely.
So no Luis Scott Vargas in this top 8. Picked up the second loss. Anyway, so in the Reed story, his number is 30%. I'll buy that, like jar but nothing. You're definitely an underdog, but you can win from jar and nothing off a 7-card hand. The thing is, in order to not get that next turn, the dredge player, what happens is the dredge player played Bazaar and then played second Bazaar and then killed him off the second Bazaar. The thing is, only way he ever gets second Bazaar is if it's in the top 3 cards of his library. No, top 2 cards of his library.
2.
Right. Bazaar's draw 2, discard 3, and for the rest of the game, he's just dredging. He's never drawing another card.
Yeah.
So the only way land's coming into his hand is if it's in the top 2 cards of his library. And you totally say go there if you're Reed Duke. I think Reed was completely correct. Say go, assume he's not going to turn to you, but the dredge guy drew perfect and turn 2'd him.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to lean on the dredge deck to kill on turn 2.
It's not easy.
A lot of things have to come together. It's definitely...
And you probed and saw that they weren't there.
Right.
Right, it requires 2 Bazaar activations, which you can accomplish with either a second Bazaar or with a Rainbow land for Fate Stitcher.
Right.
There was no Fate Stitcher in the draw either, right? He sees there's not currently a Fate
Stitcher's much easier to
because
get.
you can dredge into it, but you need the Rainbow land to activate it, and he doesn't have the Rainbow land. Like just seeing no land means, 2 draw steps or top 2 cards have to have a Bazaar, and then the Bazaars have to hit enough bridges that the Dread return, and you have to hit the Flamekin Zealot right away, but he did.
Vintage.
So Reed's got a second loss. Luis has a second loss. Luis has dropped. Reed might be playing it out.
Yeah.
Not sure. I mean, he's probably just going to drive home tonight. Or maybe he's...
Probably.
Yeah. Might be hanging out.
Exciting games.
Oh, yeah.
I'm certainly seeing the difference between shops on the play and shops on the draw today.
Fair.
What?
And you know who? I want to see this Jesse Martin deck. We should talk to Stibbs and see if we can get Dark Petition into the feature match area. He's playing essentially an elimination match next round is how it'll play out. We'll also have win-and-ins for Rich Shea, Josh Ravitz, and if he won this round, Hiromichi Ito.
All right.
Cool
stuff. A lot of exciting Magic coming up.
That's round 8 from here at Eternal Weekend, Vintage Champs. We will be back with round 9. Looks like there could be a lot of draws in the last round, so it may be a bunch of win-and-ins next round. Try to get a look at the standings, try to give you guys a more accurate update on that. Honestly, you've probably seen the standings more often than I have, being at home on a computer with the ability to click the links off Twitter. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back with round 9. As soon as they've got Magic, we'll be here to show it to you.